Feelings are not less reliable and less valuable than thoughts. One big thing that you might be missing is the idea that feelings, if you give them space, will unfold into more complexity and more value if you give them space to do so, just like thoughts. So think about your intellectual mind, right? You have an interesting thought, and it usually starts out as something simple, right? Like a fact pops into mind, or a question, or kind of a simple statement. And then it unfolds from there as you explore it, right? As you give that thought space, it expands. You think one thing, you think, oh, that's interesting. That makes me think about this and this. Oh, and I wonder why that happens. Oh, bam, bam, bam. And it's expanding piece by piece as you wait, right? But when we think about emotions as analytical thinkers, we often imagine that emotions are simpler. It's just anger. It's just surprise. It's just fear. That's it. It's kind of like a base, simple, not very nuanced thing compared to thoughts that have all this complexity. But the truth is, if you actually give emotions the space to blossom, to unpack, then they will. Right? So what that means is when you're feeling an emotion arise, instead of just dismissing it by trying to understand with the logical mind, why am I thinking this right now? Where did this come from? How can I solve it? How can I fix it? If you put the mind aside for a moment and just close your eyes or soften your gaze, breathe, and just feel the emotion and give it space to just say, wow, I am lonely right now, or I am angry right now, I am frustrated right now. And just let yourself be that. I am frustrated. I am lonely. I am sad. I don't need to fix it. I'm going to choose to be frustrated right now. Then what you'll notice, it takes practice, right? But what you'll begin to notice is, frustrated. Okay, not why. That's the logical question, but what? What is it to be frustrated right now? Let me examine. Where is frustration in my body? Oh, my shoulders are tense. Okay, I'm going to let them be tense. I'm going to feel that. Okay, here is frustration. And then you might feel, as you give it space, not just 5 seconds, maybe a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes, you might notice it starts to shift, starts to unpack. Oh, I'm angry at the top level. I just feel angry. I'm not sure why exactly, but you wait. And then, that opens, and you start feeling, I'm angry because I have a value that's important to me, and this person is pushing against it, or this person is disrespecting that value of mine. Oh, interesting. Now that anger is becoming more complex, more nuanced. It's more interesting to be with. Right? And stay with that. Oh, okay, angry. I'm angry about that. That's not right. It's not right that they're pushing against that value that's important to me. And you stay with it longer, and then, what's underneath that? Oh, actually, the deeper thing is not anger, it's sadness, it's grief. It's grief that people have trampled on that value of mine for so long. I'm sick of it. This isn't fair. I deserve something different. Right? And then you give it space, and then once you get to that base level, in this case it might be, wow, I feel so much grief about that, and I'm sick of it. I deserve something different. Now I'm going to take action. And that kind of action, coming from that deep place, is probably going to be more powerful. You're probably going to have more motivation behind it. It's probably going to allow you to take bigger action, more decisive, dramatic action than if you just acted on that kind of surface level, I think there's something not right, I'm just going to logically solve it right away. That's more likely, I think, to lead to kind of a band-aid solution. Right? And, a warning here. I've talked in other videos about kind of the first order of business when you're feeling a feeling is checking, can I handle this? How big is this? Because sometimes the right thing to do is to contain it, right? If it feels like you're really having this huge emotion that you can't handle right now, especially it might be in a kind of inappropriate place like a work meeting or something, then at those times, kind of trying to logically make yourself feel better or distract yourself or whatever might be the right move, right? It's only if it kind of feels like this is an emotion that I have the space and capacity to explore. That's when it's the right time to do it, right? Now I want to make another point. This idea that many of us analytical thinker types have, that the mind is kind of more trustworthy than emotions. And I think really the right perspective here is that neither one is kind of better or worse or more or less accurate. I think we should be using all of our different systems together as all different data sources that we can kind of be merging to come up with the most accurate conclusion. So yeah, double check your feelings with logic, and also double check your logic with feelings. So just to give you a few examples, it's easy for us analytical thinkers to think that kind of overly emotional people are just not behaving intelligently, right? They're just kind of getting lost in their feelings, almost like animalistic, right? Not like us thinker types, where we can really where our minds are kind of reliable sources of logic, right? But if you look up the Wikipedia entry on cognitive biases or ask your favorite AI about it, you will find that there are many well-documented cognitive biases, which are essentially ways that the thinking mind malfunctions. So some of the most common ones are, for example, the loss aversion fallacy or bias, where it feels much worse to lose $20 than it feels good to gain $20. And that's for evolutionary reasons and things. But if we were purely logical, if the mind could be trusted as a purely logical machine, then gaining $20 should feel kind of an equivalent good as the bad of losing $20, right? But that's not what happens. Similarly, there's kind of the sunk cost fallacy that you buy a food expecting it to be really good, and you start eating it and it's gross, but you feel like, well, I should finish it now. I paid money for it. But that's not logical at all, right? You are not enjoying it, and so you've already lost the money. It's gone. You're not going to get it back by finishing this food, right? But if you force yourself to finish it because you paid money for it, then you're getting hurt twice. You've already lost the money, and now you're having to suffer by forcing yourself to eat it, when instead you should just throw it out. And then there's the big one that affects most of us a lot of the time, is the fundamental attribution error, which is if someone cuts you off in traffic or does some other kind of bad thing, you blame them. You assume, wow, what a bad person they are, right? Whereas if you cut someone off in traffic, you blame your circumstances. Oh, it's because this bad thing happened to me. Oh, I'm so tired. Otherwise, I would never do that. So you give yourself excuses in a way that you would not give that other person excuses. And there are many more of these. So those are just some examples of how, before you think, oh, it's kind of wrong to let yourself be controlled by your emotions. Well, it's also wrong to just let yourself automatically believe that your mind is always being logical. So I just encourage you, especially if you lean toward analytical thinking as I do, to recognize that there are multiple kind of channels of information in the body. There's not only the thinking mind, there's emotions, there's sensations, intuition. These are all different kind of channels on which we can gather information about reality, and we should consider them all, to not just say that the thinking mind is better than the other ones, the other systems. All right? So I encourage you to practice just trusting that if you stay with your emotions for a little longer, then they will unfold into something that is just as interesting and valuable as thoughts. I hope that is helpful, and I wish you a nourishing day.